Welcome to the Huntsman Podcast, where we talk about the lessons learned down in the timber, successes and mistakes that made us better, and we just tell you some stories that you ain't fitting to hear anywhere else. I'm JJ Lawhorn, country music singer, Davy Crockett reincarnated, and I am the Huntsman. This podcast is about more than just hunting, y'all. It's about the mindset, the discipline, and the respect for the outdoors that comes with earning your place in it. And whether you're a lifelong hunter or you're just getting started, my goal is simple: to share real experiences, hard-earned knowledge, and honest conversations that help you become a better outdoorsman and a better person. So grab you a cup of coffee, settle in, we fit to make a drive. Welcome to the Huntsman Podcast. My name is JJ Lawhorn, and this is the Huntsman Podcast, powered by Bird Dog Mafia, Phillips Outdoors, and Ancient Footwear. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and say a prayer and get started. Dear Heavenly Father, I just thank you right now for the listener and the people that are watching this, Lord. I ask that you bless them for wanting to spend some time with me today. And I ask that this time not be wasted, that there be substance that the folks at home can gain from this. And I just thank you, Lord, for giving me these experiences. And I ask that these stories that we tell and the conversations that we have, they would glorify you and point to you, lead people to you, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Woo! Looky here. We're going to go ahead and give a shout out to Justin. I'm going to put your handle right here. Justin, Brandon, Emmett, Cody, and Kelly. Y'all, you got some stuff coming your way. I'm going to send all of y'all a message. I've already got one of y'all's information about where to send it to, but I still need an address to ship y'all some of this product from one of my sponsors, Phillips Outdoors. And we're going to hook it up, y'all. This is how we're going to do it. If you interact with me, I'm going to interact with you. So shout out to Justin, Brandon, Emmett, Cody, and Kelly. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for being interested in my sponsors' products. And I hope that you try them and have great success. And then once you have great success, I hope that you would go back and buy some more. Come on! Now look at here. We're going to tell you about what we got going on today. We're going to go ahead and start doing this weekly. I'm going to give you a weather report. I ain't going to lie to you. I checked the report this morning. It's good killing weather! Come on! Every day is a good day to go out there and harvest game. Come on, check your local seasons. Don't be getting caught hunting out of season now, but every day is a good day to go do some killing. Come on! Now, the hunting method of the week this week is running dogs. We gonna run them dogs, y'all. I don't know about you. I don't care what you really got to say about it. Unless you have raised a dog from a puppy and hunted him all the way up until the time that he dies. If you're saying that running dogs ain't no fun, then you don't know what you're talking about, and you shouldn't have a say anyways, because you ain't done the whole shebang. You can have fun without doing all that. I'm just saying, if you're going to knock it, then show me the time that you raised a dog from scratch, from a puppy all the way on up to a trained hunting dog. Woo! And then when you tell me that hunting with dogs is stupid, after that, I don't know. We gonna have a talk. If you can do all that and do it the right way and not become attached and fall in love with hunting with dogs, then I don't know, man. You might be the first person ever to experience that phenomenon. Come on! But this week we running dogs. That's the method of the week. Go out there and hunt with dogs, y'all. It ain't cheating. Don't matter what people say. They ain't never done it themselves. And if they have, they went out with the worst bad apple there ever was, or somebody that don't have no fun. I don't know. You know, you can always have exceptions to the rules, y'all. But man, I can guarantee you that if you go out there squirrel hunting, if you don't like people and you don't want to hunt with a team, you don't want to hunt with a group of people, okay, that's fine. There's a dog hunting for you. Go coon hunting. Y'all go squirrel hunting. Raise you up a dog to hunt with as your partner. You will enjoy the outdoors that much more. Some people want to be the solo guy, whatever. you're going to miss out on an opportunity to share those experiences with someone or something else. And I say, get a dog if you don't want to be around all the other people. Hunt as a team with a dog. It will change your mind about a lot of things. Come on! We hunting with dogs this week. Let's see here. Now, JJ's Huntsman sportsmanlike conduct tip of the week. Don't be leeching spots. Don't be leeching spots. There's too many people out there that are just pulling into the spot, seeing somebody else there and saying, I'm going to go hunt it anyways. Man, we did not do that. That was like back in the day, if you rolled up to the bridge, crossing over there on the side of the road, you pulled up that bridge and there was an old black man fishing there. You didn't get elbow to elbow with that fella. You went on the other side of the road if you was going to go at all. Come on. You did not get anywhere near that guy. That was just what it was. And there won't but two sides to fish anyways off of the bridge. Man, find you another spot. Get there first. Next time. You gotta have some sort of etiquette, man. It's an unwritten law. If I pull up to the spot and your truck is there, I'm backing out. I'm backing out. I'm backing out. Man, I would go out west and hunt elk. And I'm talking about these people would see a truck and they would come down there and keep coming down there and keep coming down there. One time I just sat there in camp and watched all the people that came up to this one gate. One guy parks. Another guy comes down there, sees that guy getting out and going. Oh, I'm going to go too. Another guy comes down there 30 minutes later. Another guy. Soon we got 12 trucks parked down there in front of the gate. Yeah, there's a lot of land out there, but what do you think you fit to accomplish by going in there and hunting around a bunch of other people? Some people say, I ain't got no choice. Yeah, you do. You got a choice to turn around and go home and go to the other side of the block or find you another spot, something. You got a choice not to go in there on that guy who got there first, who did the work, who showed up early, ready to go. I'm just saying. People say, oh, well, we wouldn't have no place to hunt at all if we didn't just go in there and hunt. No, you lie. You lie like a dog. Go find your own spot. That is the sportsmanlike conduct tip of the week. Now, we're going to talk about all the other things that we're going to cover today. We got on the books the importance of sharing hunting. We're going to get into that in a second. We're also going to talk about a Kentucky bow hunt. I'm going to tell you the story about this Kentucky bow hunt and what I learned from it. And then we're going to talk about the good Lord for a little while. So that's what's on the books for today. Now, the importance of sharing hunting. Buddy, I don't think that you realize just how few of hunters there are in the United States. See, you see what's around you. I've been ignorant to this myself until I start researching and trying to find the numbers, and I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. It's shocking. It's alarming. We talking about mind-blowing numbers. So many less people that are hunting in the United States today than I ever figured. Listen to this. So in 2022, there was 15.9 million people in the United States who bought a hunting license. Now that seems like a significant number. It really does. When you say it out loud, 15.9 million. All right, but let's compare that to the total population in the United States at the same time. Around 343 million. So if we do some rough math, that comes out to 4.6%. Wait a second, 4.6%? Less than 5% of the population in the United States are hunters. This is alarming, y'all, that less than 5% of the population in 2022 had a hunting license. So I've been sitting here thinking about it. I'm like, man, what are some things that we can do to promote the idea of getting hunters to introduce new people to hunting? And honestly, y'all, I think that one of the first main things that we can do is to make a vow as hunters, and say, hey, I vow that I'm going to take at least one or two people hunting, Once you become a real hunter, I'm not talking about after you've got your hunter safety education. I'm not talking about after you've done killed a few deer. I'm talking about when you say I'm a hunter and you're like, man, this is my lifestyle. This is who I am. I think that when you make that commitment, you attach that label to yourself and you say, I am a hunter. I think that at that point you should make a vow to take people hunting. You don't have to do it all the time, but if you can do it one time out of all the days every single year that you have an opportunity to go hunt, that right there will change the game. Think about it. If we have close to 16 million people that had a hunting license, if a quarter of them, if an eighth of those people took somebody who had never been hunting before, all of a sudden we have added, an astronomical amount to the overall total of people that are buying hunting licenses and are managing the land. This is crazy that we have less than 5% of the people out there in the United States that are hunting. Now, I wanted to give you a further idea of just how quick this decline has happened. So, I was looking at state by state how many people bought hunting license, what the sales of those hunting license brought, and how they all rank state to state. 50 years ago in the 1970s, they had 750-some thousand license sales. That's a lot. Now we got 200,000. Now the population has done nothing but go skyrocket in the last 50 years in California. We know that. But still, the fact of the matter is, in 1970, there was 500,000 more sportsmen that bought a hunting license than there is in 2022. That's wild. Hunter safety education is a mandatory thing in most states. I'm glad that I took a course when I was a kid and that I kept the certificate. It has come in handy hunting around the United States. A lot of states require you to put in the code that you're given for the certification and stuff, or at least certify that you have taken it. But I actually still have the certification, and I think it's a good thing for everybody to do, to take a hunter safety course. And that is mandatory in most places, but I think that it should be an unwritten law amongst us people that have said, hey, I am a hunter, and we have taken that title and we live that lifestyle. I think that we have to make a commitment to take other people hunting, y'all. Otherwise, our way of life will disappear. But if we can all go out there and take a few people that have never been hunting before and help them get started and help nurture their journey into hunting a little bit, man, it can change their lives. There's no telling how many people they're willing to introduce to it once they like it. So it's like an apple tree. An apple tree comes from one seed. You plant one seed, there ain't no telling how many apples that tree is going to spit out over the course of its life. And you think about how many trees that one seed created, generation after generation after generation after generation. This is the effect that we need to have in order to keep hunting alive. I never thought about it like this, y'all. Less than 5% of the population in America today hunts. For all them people you got down there in Arkansas stomping through the public land trying to get to the duck hole and whatever, however, a couple hundred people on this WMA, whatever kind of frenzy you think that you're seeing that is just destroying hunting, what is destroying hunting more than that is the fact that you ain't taking people that have never been hunting before hunting. Think about that. You ain't taking people that have never been hunting before, and that is going to be the death of hunting if we let it. Now you say, JJ, I take people hunting all the time. JJ, I take people hunting all the time. That's what you thinking. Well, take some more. Make it a point to take people that have never been hunting before, hunting. Not just your buddies, not just your friends that you go hunting with all the time. I'm talking about people that have never been hunting. Carry them hunting. That's what we got to do, y'all. And if we don't do it, who's going to do it? Man, I seen some disturbing things come across the board. You know, bills and legislations going against dog hunting and trying to just reshape cultural traditions, man. These people have been doing it for years and they're still at it. But we can't let that happen. We've got to get together. We've got to show up in numbers. We've got to be the people that speak up for what it is that we do. And if you're a hunter and you don't support houndsmen, then you know what? Shame on you. Because any kind of method that is legal, any kind of method that is hunting, you should be supporting it, whether you do it or not, because your kind of hunting will disappear if you don't support the dog hunters. Your kind of hunting will disappear if you don't support all the different legal manners of hunting. And you say, no, it won't. No, it won't. All right, you fool. When they take it all away and it's because you let them, then we're going to be having a different talk. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, I am not an outlaw, but if you try to strip me of my cultural traditions, you might find out that I can become one, because I ain't fitting to let these people take what I plan on passing down to my children away from me. And if you're one of those people that's in a state where you've seen it go away, you know that it was because the people did not stay together. They did not show up in numbers. And then next thing you know, they swept it out from underneath of them. We showing up. We ain't letting them take over what it is that we have a God-given right to do. Hunting is the birthright of free men. That was George Washington that said that. Think about that, y'all. George Washington said, hunting is the birthright of free men. And George Washington loved running dogs. Don't let your pride get in the way. Don't let the fact that you don't like guys that run dogs, you don't prefer that method, it irritates you, blah, 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 blah. Don't let that get in the way of the fact that we are all a team. We are hunters. No matter what method you choose, we are hunters. And they are coming for it all. Not just the dog hunters, not just the still hunters, all of it. They want it all gone. We cannot let it happen. We cannot let it happen. It's up to you. Take somebody hunting. Change somebody's mind about what it is that they're thinking it's about. Change their mind. Show them what it really is. Show them how this is our God-given right. We are commanded in the Bible. We're going to get there here in a little while. We are commanded to subdue the earth and use all of its vast resources in service to God and man. Show them what hunting is really about. The management of what God has created for us. That is what hunting is. It is feeding your family with those resources. It's feeding other people. Making sure that we are taking care of the creation that God made for us the way that God intended it to be. We cannot let people divide us, y'all. We have to get together. We have to rise up. We have to be the change that we want to see. And if it's not us, then who is going to do it? Who is going to take new people hunting if it ain't a hunter? These people, yeah, some of these people are so determined to bust out of their way of life. They see the food system is going to junk and they're scared of what they're eating and stuff like this. And they got enough sense to do everything they can to research it up, to figure it out on their own. But think about it. Think about how much more effective you could help them be in a short while if they're willing to try it on their own, just to get out of the food system, to get out of the matrix, if you will. Man, you could help them a little bit, take them hunting with you, show them some things, and then all of a sudden, man, you just help somebody feed themselves faster for life. Because it's not just about helping somebody feed themselves here and there. It's about trying to help them to be able to feed themselves whenever they need to. And the quicker that you help them become more effective, the more service that you do to them. And the quicker that you help them become effective and become a hunter, a real hunter, that's when they can take the title on themselves and say, okay, now I know how to do this. I can show somebody else, and I can help them become effective. And then you've got more seeds planted. You've got more people introducing new folks to hunting. We need to be the change we want to see. We need to be the people that are taking folks that have never been hunting before, showing them what hunting is really about, explaining it all the way down to the commandments that God has given us, and teach them how to do it the right way. All right, we're going to go ahead and get on to this story of the day. I'm going to try not to go do Ramble-a-thon 5,000. I had to do several times over this episode because it just, I don't know. The Lord was just wanting me to do it a different way. And I don't want this to be about me. I want this to be about God. I want this to be about things that matter, helping hunting continue as a tradition that will go all the way down there past my grandkids and continue to be something that is cherished and practiced and promoted as a good thing. There's an old sticker that says, kids that hunt, fish, and trap don't mug little old ladies. And I love that sticker. I think they need to bring that thing back because it's the truth. This is a lifestyle that kids need to grow up in. This is a lifestyle that needs to be promoted as a part of our American heritage. And if we let it disappear, it will. Many years ago, I met this guy who was a fan of my music. And he was, I want to say he was probably mid-50s or so, or something like that when I met this gentleman. He was a fan of my music. And he's up there in western Kentucky. Not too far from where I was living at the time in Nashville. Just about an hour and a half, 2-hour ride on up the road. So I got introduced to this guy through the music, and I said I was looking for places to hunt, and this gentleman offered up his farm to have me come hunt. And I said I would love to. So I rode up there, and I met this gentleman in a personal capacity, and he got to talking, and I knew right away me and him was going to get along. And so it wasn't long before he tells me the story of this farm and that it was passed down from his great-grandfather, and it was an interesting piece of property. It had some crops on it. It also had some CRP and some timber. Good chunk of land. A good guy, this old farmer. And he showed me around the place and told me what he knew of it, and I went to going out there and killing deer. Now, this was a hunt that I made, I don't know, a couple deer in, I do believe. I showed up real early one morning to go out there hunt early in the season. And man, I didn't even bother with the climber because I had it in my mind. It was so bright outside, and I knew those deer was out there in the field. I could look across that distance and I could see them. Their eyes reflect off the sunlight, or you could actually see the silhouette of the deer in the field. The moon was just so bright. So, sure enough, I'm like, dude, I need to just skip the climber and ease on down there to one of these old metal stands. These people back in the day, if they were serious about it, they was going to make a stand that lasted for 50 years or better. And these guys had welded up these old ladders with a little platform for you to stand on. And back in the day, I guess they would have laid a piece of wood across the bars that you'd hold on to on either side of the ladder. They come up like this and turned off. And you'd have laid you a good piece of wood. And you going to be ready to go. But I knew about these stands. I had hunted this place a couple times and killed some other deer in some other places. And I knew that there was one or two stands right in that area that were melted into the tree and had been there for a long time, but were still in solid enough condition to climb up into them. And so I had it in my mind, I'm going to sneak down through there, past these deer, hopefully without spooking them, get up in one of these stands, skip the climber. I don't want to make a bunch of noise. Don't want to bang this thing around on a tree and setting it up, putting the cables around the tree. A deer probably blow out of there, probably won't see nothing at all. So I decided I'm going to slip on through there. And that's what I done. Now, I knew about moccasins a while ago. I didn't have the luxury of having ancient moccasins. Y'all should go get you a pair of those. That's one of my sponsors, and they make a great product, man. I know the gentleman that makes the product, and he is just a good feller. Has sent me several pair to try, and I have put them through the rigors, y'all. And I'm gonna tell you something right now. They are a solid product, and I wish that I had something like this. But back in the day, pretty much I had Minnetonka to choose from, and they had a pretty good product. If you spend some money, you could get a pretty good product too off of them. And I had some moose leather moccasins that I was using to slip around and sneak around in. And I'm telling you something, I could hit that Mohican sneak, and they wouldn't know what hit them. At least that morning they didn't. Sometimes I'm sure that if they could smell me, they'd blowed the woods out and gone every which way. But this morning it worked like just textbook, and I slipped right on by them. And man, I got up in that stand. It was kind of an intersection where the corner of the field over here dumped down towards where this old logging road this stand was located. And I said, all right, I'm up in here, got all situated, and I just stood there. Wasn't nothing to sit on. The board had long rotted away. And I sat there until the sun come up, and here come the deer down through the woods. A couple does come slipping on down through there. I eased that thing on back. About the time it come by at about 10 yards, just stepping, never even knew I was there. Just 10 ringed it. Come on! What do you think was been to happen, dog? That thing didn't get away. No, wham! 10 ring that thing. It hops over the little knoll there and it disappears. But I'm sure it's going down 70 yards or less. I know I'm just like, yeah, thank you, Lord. So I sit there for a while, and I'm like, man, ain't nothing coming through. I might as well go ahead and get on finding this deer before it gets too hot and gets spoiled. 9:30, 10 o'clock's coming along here. So I start taking up to find the deer, and man, I'm gonna tell you something right now. All of a sudden, the blood just stopped, and I can't find this deer. And I'm starting to kind of panic, because I'm like, I don't want this thing to get to spoil, and I know this thing is laying around here dead somewhere. So I pray, Lord, help me find this deer. And this is one of the main lessons in this hunt that I learned. Don't give up on God showing up. You got to be patient sometimes, and just wait, because he's got something for you, and he will show up in perfect timing. It might not be the way that you think it will, and you might find that there's still some work involved after he shows up. But God shows up when you need him. So I'm sitting there, man, kind of beating myself up. I'm like, ain't no way. Ain't no daggum way. And I'm kind of getting flustered looking around for this thing. I'm not going, man, I know I killed this thing dead as a doorknob. Where is this deer? I don't want to waste nothing. I don't want this thing to spoil. I don't want to shoot this thing and take its life for nothing, Lord. Help me find this deer. So about that time, I'm sitting there collecting my thoughts, trying to kind of think of where this deer might have gone. And all of a sudden, I see this raccoon come popping out. Come out the cornfield, come across this little dry creek bed I'm standing there in. The whole time I ain't 125 yards, maybe 150 yards or something like this from that stand I shot this deer at. And I'm standing there in this dry creek bottom. Here comes this little baby kit coon. And it goes right there in front of me. I'm talking about, I don't know, 10, 15 feet right there in front of me. And it just shimmies on around there across them rocks and just eases on up this steep side of this other bank. And it goes over that bank and just disappears. And I thought to myself, wow, that was wild. That's not every day you just have a coon just come easing on past you, doesn't even pay no mind, didn't even look at me, just went right on past me and just eased on over there. I thought that was odd. That was strange. About that time, I just felt like follow the raccoon. And I'm like, how would I follow the raccoon? I need to be looking for the deer. You know what I'm saying? I need to be looking for this deer. I need to find this deer. But I felt like I was supposed to follow this raccoon. I don't know. I'm just like, what is this feeling? Like, I got to follow the raccoon? I'm like, all right, I'll play along here. So I go on up there and just to see what the raccoon was doing. What is this thing doing? Where is it going? I ease on over this bank, and I'm telling you right now, if I'm lying, I'm dying. I get on over the other side, and there is a massive sinkhole, crater, looked like an asteroid hit the earth, and just, I'm talking about, it was wild, y'all. I'm like, what in the world? What in the world? This right here was right on the backside of where I was on stand. I had no idea. I've never walked down through there, back behind that stand, and over the other side of this knoll and this ridge. I never even knew there's a daggone crater and a sinkhole, giant cave at the bottom of this thing. I'm going, ain't no way. And down there at the bottom, all the way at the bottom, there's my deer. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, Lord. I'm like, ain't no way. So I went from praying that the Lord would help me get a deer and slip on by these deer and get down in there and kill one. I done that. The Lord answered my prayer. Then I'm like, Lord, help me find the deer. And then the Lord uses a raccoon to help me find this deer, but it's down there in the bottom of the crater. So, like I said, don't give up on God showing up. Have a little bit of patience. Collect yourself. Be patient. Wait on God showing up. He might not show up the way that you think he will. He might not show you guidance using the person or the animal or the situation that you think that he will. But God has a way that makes sense to him that we can't see. We don't know how it's all supposed to work. But God used the wildlife to show me where my game was. And he answered my prayer. But now, like I said, sometimes even after God answers your prayer, there's still some work left to do. So I gotta go down there and put in my work, man. You know, it's funny. It's like, you ever hear people talking about, you know, if you'll just meet God in the middle, you know, or you hear people talking about make a step towards God, you know, and he'll take the 99 and stuff like this. And I've heard it said a bunch of different ways, but man, for me, it's like, you got to go out there and you got to do some work still. Even when God answers your prayers, especially when God answers your prayers and gives you what you prayed for, there's work to be done as a result of being a custodian of that blessing. Like now I found the deer. I have to break it down. I have to put the work in on getting this thing up out of this crater, you know, and be a custodian of this life that I have now snuffed out. I have to utilize this thing's existence and what it has built up into what it is right there when I'm killing it. How much energy can I get out of this thing? How much muscle does it have? How much fat does it have? All these things that it has acquired as it has gone about living its wild life. All of a sudden, okay, bam, that ceases to increase or decrease. And now I'm the custodian of that as a resource. And it's up to me to be responsible with it and to not let it go to waste. I don't know if people look at it like that, but that's how I'll be looking at it. So I got to get this thing up out of this crater. And so I used my bow rope. And as I pulled this thing on up, and it was steep. As I was pulling this thing on up, I would wrap it around a sapling or a small tree to hold the weight there so that it wouldn't go down the hill, because it was good and steep to get up out of this crater. And it was probably, I want to say it was probably about 75 yards, you know, from the bottom of that thing up there to the top. And that was a lot of work. I mean, that thing wasn't a massive doe. It was early season, and I want to say that thing probably weighed 125, 130 pounds. But still, it was a little bit of something to get it on up out of there and drag that thing on back there to where I could get my car down there too, to take and toss that thing up in there. Come on. So I brought that thing on up there to the farmer, and he was happier than I was, dude. He just was ecstatic that I was able to go out there and harvest one with that bow. And man, me and that feller went on to have just a lifelong friendship. And I need to get on up there and do some hunting on his place here directly. Wasn't able to make it up there this past year, but you know, I got kids, and you know how it is, y'all. Time gets away from you. But that is an outstanding gentleman over there in Western Kentucky, a good friend of mine, an old farmer. And that was a hunt that I made over there on his place back in the day. Learned a lot of lessons with that one, y'all. Like I said, don't give up on God showing up. He might not show up in the way that you thought, and there might still be some work to do after he does show up. But God has perfect timing. Woo! Now, I want to share a couple verses with you in closing. One of them being the basis for why we as hunters do what we do. Now, it says right here in the first book of the Bible, in the 25th verse, it says, "And God made the wild beasts of the earth according to their kinds, and domestic animals according to their kinds, and everything that creeps upon the earth according to its kind. And God saw that it was good, fitting, and pleasant, and he approved it. God said, Let us, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, make mankind in our image after our likeness, and let them have complete authority over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, the tame beast, and over all of the earth, and over everything that creeps upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image and likeness of God he created him. Male and female he created them. And God blessed them and said to them, Be fruitful, multiply, and fill the earth, subdue it, using all its vast resources in the service of God and man, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and over every living creature that moves upon the earth." Woo! That's the basis for what we do, y'all. God has given me dominion over the wildlife, just like everything that God blesses us with and that is talked about in the Bible. We have a responsibility to manage it the correct way and to do things the correct way. And it is a great responsibility, because in order for our grandkids to have the same resources that we have as far as wildlife goes in this country right now, or better, it's up to us now. We have to do that, and we have to know why we have authority to do what we do. We have to be able to show people, explain it to them. And God blessed them and said to them, Be fruitful, multiply, and fill the earth, and subdue it, using its vast resources in the service of God and man, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and over every living creature that moves upon the earth. Y'all, this is it right here. Hunting is the birthright of free men. God gave us these resources, these critters, these things out here on the land and the land itself to manage and to use in the service of God and man. Come on. If we can introduce people to God's glory through bringing them out there into nature and hearing a turkey gobble its butt off right there when the sun is coming up in the woods, and you hear them just trembling and scared, and we laughing because the hoot owls start sounding like monkeys, and I mean, you get all these experiences that taking somebody hunting shows them all this glorious stuff that God has created for us to enjoy that they never have experienced before. And hunting is just such a great way to provide good, clean food for your family, man. Woo! In a time where food is just poisoned, in this time where this food is manipulated all kinds of ways, we just need what God created for us to be able to feed our families. We need to utilize the wildlife as a resource, sustainably, responsibly, and man, woo, this right here is the basis for it all. God has commanded us, be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth, and subdue it, using all its vast resources in the service of God. And then God gives us dominion over all of those animals. Woo, powerful stuff, y'all. Man, a lot of people also be telling me, well, JJ, you hunt these things that are unclean. You're a Bible toter, or well, don't you know that the Bible says that, you can't eat pork. You ain't supposed to eat pork and this, that, and other. You be killing these pigs and eating pork and raising pigs and stuff. It's just, you're just the exact opposite of the things you're supposed to believe. Well, let me tell you something. We need to be able to explain to people when they come to us about what it is that we do and why we do it. And explain to these people in a logical way with a reference as to why we believe what we believe. And this is how you can explain this. And this is how I explain this to people. I wanted to share this with you. Now it says in Acts 10:10, but he became very hungry and he wanted something to eat. And while the meal was being prepared, a trance came over him. And he saw the sky open up and something like a great sheet lowered by the four corners descending to the earth. It contained all kinds of wild beasts and creeping things of the earth and birds of the air. And there came a voice to him saying, rise up, Peter, kill and eat. But Peter said, no, by no means, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unhallowed or ceremonially unclean. Woo! And the voice came to him again a second time. What God has cleansed and pronounced clean, do not you defile and profane by regarding and calling common and unhallowed or unclean. Woo! This is why it's important, y'all, to ask the Lord to bless your food. Because if it's blessed by God, it doesn't matter what it is. It is clean. Come on. It doesn't matter whether it's a wild hog that's been rooting down off in the swamp. It don't matter. He's been eating baby deers. He's been eating grubs. He's been eating all kinds of things, everything he can get his hand on, your corn. It don't matter what it is. He's down off in there eating it. But that meal that I make out of that wild pig, man, if God has blessed it, he has made it clean. It doesn't matter what it is that creeps and crawls all over this earth. I have dominion over it. I can manage it. I can use it as a resource in service to God and man. Come on, somebody say amen. That is good stuff right there. It don't matter whether it's a bear. It don't matter whether it's a hog. I mean, I don't fancy it, but if you wanted to eat a daggum coyote, if you ask the Lord to bless it and he blesses it, well, guess what, buddy? It's clean and it will be good for you. Come on! Because if God makes it clean, it's clean. If God touches it and he gets a hold of it, woo, there ain't nothing that God can't do something with. And turn around, turn upside down, use something what most people would consider unclean or bad and make it clean, whole, and good. Look at the whole southern United States, man. Look at all them God-fearing households in the South that raised and slaughtered hogs in the wintertime, and that helped them have food, all through the year, man. Why? Why did they do that? Because they asked the Lord to bless their meals. That was something that they could take the scraps and feed that thing and then get more food out of it. But the Lord would bless those homes because they were God-fearing, God-serving households. And even though they didn't have a whole lot, what they had, if the Lord would bless it, all of a sudden it was a lot. It was enough. It was more than enough. And I know some of the strongest men, some of the longest living men that I've ever met in my life ate food that people would say is unfitting to eat or was unclean, but they asked the Lord to bless it, and God blessed it, y'all. So This has been another episode of the Huntsman Podcast. I'm your host, JJ Lawhorn. Thank y'all for watching. My name is JJ Lawhorn, and this is the Huntsman Podcast, powered by Bird Dog Mafia, Phillips Outdoors, and Ancient Footwear. Thank y'all for tuning into this week's episode of the Huntsman Podcast. I hope that y'all enjoyed it, and I hope that you'll join us again next week. It's gonna be a good one. Now, lock in with me on social media at the Huntsman Podcast and at JJ Lawhorn Music for all the wild stuff. If you like what you heard, man, and you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, please share, push the little thumbs up button, and also please comment underneath this video. Let me know what you want to learn about, what you want to hear more of, and who you want to see in future episodes. If you got a little time, go down there to jjlawhorn.com, get you a Blaze Orange ball cap or some good merch. Might just save your life, you never know. And also, I got to say, until next time, Jesus is King, God bless America, and keep your powder dry. Come on.